I was a devoted stay-at-home dad, raising our kids while unemployed for just 3 months. She cheated on me twice, sexted men right in front of me, blamed everything on my struggles, gaslit me into agreeing to an open marriage, slept with a 23-year-old she met on Snapchat, then moved him into our home with our toddlers and said it was all my fault. The painful story of how my wife destroyed our family and called it healing. Fall of 2023. I had just lost my job. 15 hours a week at a dying company wasn't enough to provide, so I stayed home. I became a full-time dad. I changed diapers, cooked every meal, stayed up when the kids had nightmares, accused, scraped knees, folded laundry, cleaned the house, top to bottom, every single day. By the time she got home, the house was spotless, the kids were fed, and I tried to still be emotionally present for her even, though I was silently drowning inside. Terrified of being seen as less than, because I wasn't the breadwinner. But she told me it was fine. She made good money. She said we'd get through it together. She told me I was doing great, that we were a team. So I believed her. But something started to change. She was different, distant, secretive, the kind of cold you don't notice right away because it sneaks in slowly like fog rolling under the door. First, it was her mood. Then it was the way she started guarding her phone, smiling at messages she wouldn't show me, whispered laughter from the bathroom. I knew something was off, and still I gave her grace. I didn't want to be the jealous husband. I didn't want to accuse her without proof. But one night, I cracked. I looked at her phone. I didn't want to, but I needed to. What I found shattered something inside me. She had been sexting someone, a man she called just a friend. Explicit, degrading messages about me, about how I was worthless, about how I wasn't a real man because I didn't provide, about how she needed someone better. I stood there reading the words while our children slept a few feet away. She never once brought any of this up to me directly, never said she was unhappy, never asked me to try something different. No attempt at communication, just betrayal behind my back and a performance to my face. When I confronted her, she didn't cry. She didn't even look guilty. She told me straight up, if you stay unemployed, I'm divorcing you. So I got another job. Quickly, I thought fixing the money would fix us. She said she ended things with the guy. I wanted to believe her, and for a brief moment I thought maybe we were okay. But I didn't know that was only the beginning of the unraveling. It was December 2023. We hadn't been intimate in over a year. But for once, we decided to try reconnecting. Try drinking a little. Try pretending things could still work. So we opened a bottle, sat on the couch, laughed a little. For the first time in months, it felt like maybe something was still there. But the moment didn't last. Most of the night, she sat on her phone. I watched her smile at messages. I asked her about it. She brushed it off. Don't worry, she said. He's just a friend. I asked again. She rolled her eyes and called me jealous, said I was ruining the mood, but something was off. I knew that look. I knew the way she disappeared into the bathroom for long stretches. The way she always kept her phone flipped over. The way she seemed completely disconnected from us after she passed out from drinking. I did something I had promised myself I wouldn't do again. I checked her phone and there it was. Detailed sexting. It's not just casual, flirting, explicit descriptions of what they would do to each other, what he would do to her, what she wanted from him. Full-blown sexual conversations happening right in front of me while I was sitting across the room like a ghost. And the reason she kept going to the bathroom, he was sending her videos. She was sending them back. I froze. My hands went numb. I woke her up and asked her what this was. She denied everything. Said she thought she was texting me. Said she was drunk and confused. Then, to make things worse, she tried to offer me sex right there, as if that would erase what she had just done, as if I could forget the words I had just read, the images I had just seen. I couldn't take it. I walked out of the room in silence. I didn't yell, didn't cry, felt empty. A few weeks later, she admitted she messed up, but instead of real remorse, she blamed me, blamed the 3 months I had been unemployed, as if love was a contract and I had violated it by struggling, as if betrayal was her way of balancing the scales. And still, part of me tried to fix it, because I wanted us, because I remembered what we used to be, because I thought people make mistakes. Maybe we could still heal. New Year's Eve came around. We told each other 2024 would be our year to get back on track. It was a lie neither of us was ready to admit. Asterisk, the first few months of 2024 felt strange. We were trying, or at least I thought we were. We were having sex again once a week, going on dates, laughing more, exploring things we hadn't before. I started to feel like maybe the worst was behind us. Maybe this was what healing looked like. It's messy, imperfect, but possible. But underneath that surface, something darker was growing. One night, she brought up the idea of a threesome. Was hesitant. I told her I had jealousy issues. That kind of thing just wasn't for me. But she kept pushing, said it would reignite the spark, said it would fix the imbalance. I didn't want to say yes, but I didn't want to start another fight either. So I said we could talk about it. Then she pushed further. Not just a threesome, but what if we each slept with someone else separately? I said no, clear, firm, unequivocal. I told her I couldn't handle that it would break me, that it would feel like betrayal. She nodded. She said she understood. But weeks later, she came back to me with a smirk and a new story. She told me that I had agreed to let her sleep with another man. That one night, drunk, I said yes. She claimed that was consent. She used that moment I don't even remember as a weapon. It's a loophole. It's an excuse. And then she left. She told me she needed time away, needed space to think. So in June, she left our home, left me with the kids, said she was going to clear her head. In reality, she went to spend the week with a 23-year-old man she met on Snapchat. She didn't hide it when she got back. In fact, she seemed proud. She sat me down and told me in painful, graphic detail what they did together. She told me how free it made her feel, how much he pleased her, how much bigger he was than me. She looked me in the eyes as if she was delivering a performance, not a confession, like she wanted me to feel small, broken, replaceable. And I did, when she unpacked her things. I found more truth than I ever wanted. Receipts for sex toys, a photo strip of them kissing, love letter, evidence of a romantic, intimate, real connection between her and a man she had known for less than a month, while I was home taking care of our children, while I was nursing a toddler through a 102-degree fever, while I was holding our family together by sheer willpower. She still claimed she didn't cheat, because in her mind, one drunken sentence was enough to justify it all. But I know what consent is. I know what manipulation is, a T, and I know that deep down, she had already made her decision. She just needed me to be too tired, too loyal, or too scared to stop her. Asterisk, she came back from that trip like nothing had happened, like she hadn't left me alone with 2 toddlers while she ran off to live out some fantasy with a man who barely shaved. She looked refreshed, recharged, lighter, like the guilt had burned off in the hotel sheets. And then she dropped the bomb. She said she was done with the marriage, done pretending, done trying. She didn't cry. She didn't apologize. She just looked at me like I was a loose end. She was finally tying off. And then came the second wave of betrayal. I found things she didn't bother to hide. A receipt from an adult store with 2 names on the order. The photo booth strip, her kissing him, laughing, touching his face. a folded letter in her bag that started with, "I didn't expect to fall for you so fast," and ended with, "I hope we can build a life together." I remember sitting on the floor, holding that letter, and feeling like I was dying inside. Not in one sharp blow, but in a slow collapse. Because she wasn't just choosing him, she was erasing me. And then she brought him here, July 2024. That same 23-year-old boy, because I refuse to call someone who does what he did. A man moved 14 hours across the country to live with her and with my kids, our babies, our toddlers. The same ones I stayed up with when they had colds. It's the same ones I bathed, held, soothed while she was off with him. And now he was in our home, reading them stories, tucking them in, touching their lives like he had earned the right. I didn't handle it well. No one would. The divorce became war. It wasn't just a heartbreak. It became a custody nightmare. I had to fight for time with my kids. I had to watch this stranger try to step into the role I had never abandoned. Had to hear her tell the court that I was unstable because I was angry, because I dared to be devastated. And still, she blamed me. She said the reason she cheated, the reason she left, the reason our marriage died, was because I didn't have a job for 3 months. 3 months after 4 years of me parenting, supporting, carrying more than half the load. After every sacrifice, every night without sleep, every meal made, every bottle warmed, 3 months of financial strain was enough in her mind to justify all of it. And when I called her out, told her that none of this was fair, she doubled down. She told me she hadn't loved me in years, that she had been trapped, that it was my fault she was so unhappy. I wanted to scream. I wanted to fall apart. I wanted to disappear, but I couldn't because 2 tiny humans were still watching me. So I stayed present. I stayed dad. I stayed strong for them, even when I was breaking inside. Asterisk. The divorce was finalized at the end of May. By then, I had moved out. My name was no longer on the lease. I slept on couches, then in a tiny apartment, then finally in a place I could call my own. Quiet, empty, but mine. She kept the house. She kept the car. She tried to keep the narrative, too, that I had been the problem all along, that I was cold, that I was distant, that I wasn't enough. But reality has a way of breaking through fiction, especially when the story you built was based on lies, because her perfect little fantasy didn't last. The guy, 23-year-old Snapchat fling she threw our life away for, left her before Christmas. Not even 6 months. It's all that destruction for nothing. And the sad thing, she didn't even seem shocked. She just acted like the fallout didn't matter, like it wasn't worth looking back on, like she hadn't dragged our kids through a hurricane just to chase someone who barely knew how to spell commitment. But me, I was still standing, not untouched, not unscarred, but standing. I had the kids for the holidays. I watched them open gifts with joy on their faces and pain nowhere to be found. I held them, fed them, showed up like I always had, and quietly, I healed. Not all at once, not cleanly, not without breakdowns in the shower or nights staring at the ceiling asking why I wasn't enough, but piece by piece, I started becoming me again. People ask me sometimes if I still love her, and the truth, I don't know. Maybe I love the version of her I thought was real, the woman I believed I married, the one who promised me forever, then cracked that promise like glass when it got uncomfortable. She told me once, after everything, that she didn't cheat, that it wasn't cheating because I had said yes that one night, drunk, that everything she did was my fault. And maybe she keep telling herself that, but I know the truth. So do you. So do the kids. And the scariest part for her, the internet doesn't forget. I have the receipts. I have the photo strip. I have the video from that mall photo booth where they kissed, told each other, I love you, thinking no one was watching. She doesn't know I saw that. She doesn't. No, I saved it, but I never used it. I didn't blow up her world, didn't expose her on social media. I didn't send the video to friends or family because I realized something far more powerful than revenge. She destroyed herself. I didn't have to do a thing. And as for me, I walk away with my integrity, with the love of my kids, with the knowledge that I gave everything and then some to someone who couldn't see past her own desires. She may have taken pieces of my heart, but she never got my soul. And in the end, that's what saved me.